everybody. Welcome to Spiritually Out of the Closet. My name is Dan McCleskey. I just wanted to say thank you to all the new and current subscribers. I couldn't do this without you. I'm so excited to get all my messages out, and thank you for being part of this. It means the world to me. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to dive into a video on vibes, basically spiritual defense, and get into it a little bit more. The reason that I'm doing this is that I am, or for two reasons really. It's basically a couple chapters from my book, so I'm not wanting to give all of my book away by any means. I got a lot of great stuff in there, but I feel like I have to share this one, and for multiple reasons. First one is for me. As a young child, I have had multiple entities come and visit me different times at night, during the day, all kinds of things. But I didn't have a way to say no. It just happened, and it would scare me to death. I was too young to really understand it or know what to do when these type of things happen. And so I created a defense over time where I could create the space I needed. And I'm going to get more into that as we move on. But the second reason is for a good friend of mine in California. Now, she's a grown adult, and she has gone through her day-to-day life, no problem. And recently, she had an entity come and visit her, and to her, this was not a good entity. It was something that came night after night, and really put her in a spot where she wasn't getting sleep, she wasn't functioning well, she was scared to death, and she sought help. She sought help from doctors, from therapists, from everything you could think of, and it wouldn't go away. You know, there was a point where she was throwing her hands up in the air going, "Nobody can help me." And you know, that is a frustration point to me because I can help. I can definitely help. Now, the cool thing is that she did finally sought somebody out that was clairvoyant and was able to kind of help her through it and basically help her get rid of this entity that was there bugging her every night. But after talking to her, that's really what pushed me even more to do this video. There's so many of us out there that have either dealt with this from a young child, are just now kind of dealing with this, with things stopping by, and we don't know what to do. You know what I mean? It's scary. We can't talk to our friends and family about it. We don't know what to do. And so I wanted to push out this video to give us a tool to work with, to be able to give you that buffer that you need between you and the spiritual world until you're ready. I can tell you that, you know, as time is going on, and a lot of the folks that are newer to this world come with a gift where the veil isn't as thick. You know, I think over centuries and time, the veil has been getting thinner and thinner anyway. And so a lot more of us are going to be having a lot more of these experiences moving forward. And I would say keep an eye open for that too, and this is why we need to be more aware of it, because if it is a young kid, I hid it from everybody. I was scared to death, but also I didn't want everybody to think I was crazy, so I hid it. I guarantee you that there's kids out there going through the same exact thing that I did. There's adults, like the woman I just told you about, that are dealing with it now for the first time. There's people where it's thrown into our laps and we don't have a choice, and then there's other folks that you know, spiritually grow into it, so it's not quite as a scary experience. But either way, it's happening a lot. So we really just need to, first of all, know that it's okay, and second of all, that you do have a choice to push away if you need to, and still be here, you know, still be in this physical world and be able to see the spiritual world, but just not have it as much in your face, I guess is the best way to say it. So it's a really good tool for the folks that just didn't have a choice more than anything else too. So, okay, so I'm going to get into it a little bit more. I do have the portion that I'm going to read from my book directly, and I'm going to do that here in just a minute. I want to dive in a little bit deeper first. For those of you that don't like listening to books, I don't blame you, so that you can just listen to this first part, and hopefully it gives you enough to understand where we're going with, or where I'm going with all of this. But let's do that, and then I'll read from the book here in a moment. But so spiritual defense, first of all, I want to be very clear, is that after being open to the spiritual world, mostly now more than ever, you don't necessarily need a defense. It's more of understanding and raising your vibration and being part of it, where it's no longer scary. All of that goes away. But when you're new to this, or a child or something like that, it's a fantastic tool to have. It's going to help you. And so what I can tell you is, from a young age, or any time, from as long as I can remember, when experiences start happening, or when you're speaking truth with somebody, or whatever the situation may be, I always vibe. So I start getting goosebumps from head to toe, all over the place. So I've really learned to control this well. And what you do is you can feel your aura with it. You physically have the goosebumps. And I got that a lot as a young kid. Now, it still didn't help me yet. It was just part of my, what I would say, a spidey sense, right? That you understand that there's something going on around you, which I think is brilliant, that spidey sense, because I think they were onto something, or knew a little something there for Stan Lee. So great job with that one, buddy. But what it is there absolutely is more behind it. Now, what I would say too is, a lot of us are told or taught to pray in those situations. And I don't want to take away whatsoever the power of prayer, but I do want to tell you that in these situations with these entities that came and visited me, prayer didn't do anything. It didn't stop the situation from happening. There wasn't a moment where all of a sudden that put me ahead or got extra help, because that's not how this works. Not how it works at all. So what I finally learned over time is to not be afraid, in that I learned how powerful I really am. I learned how powerful you really are. Now, when a lot of these entities come to visit you, they are not used to human beings, first of all, knowing that they exist, or know that they're there with you, but fighting back is something completely new to them, in a way that actually really affects them. So that's the tool I'm going to teach you today. I would say that with the tool of vibrating, or vibration, or vibing is what I would call it, is that it's a fantastic tool, but there's more to it than that. I need to explain or break down all of it, and there's really three factors to it. So first of all is being open enough to understand that there's things around us, that the veil is thin enough for you on a pretty regular basis, where you recognize when there's entities and when there's things around you, you feel it. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us hide that we do it, but we do it. So that's number one. Number two is understanding the universal language. The universal language is how we speak at home. I call it home, but it's basically, you could call it heaven, or whatever you wish to call it. Again, I don't believe in a heaven or hell, but I believe in home. Now, home is where we come from. Home is where we go back to if we choose to. It's basically where we're all from. It's the universal language. Now, the universal language and how we speak at home is not physically speaking. It's not using our hands or anything like that, because in some cases we don't have hands. It's really at whatever level or vibration level that you're at. How we talk or speak is through the universal language, and that's through intention. Intention or feelings. We're able to produce that through our different vibration patterns, and very much like a bee. I'm not sure, they use physical, but it's a vibration that they put out when they communicate, and they're able to actually communicate to the other bees as far as where they were and how to get to whatever nectar source or whatever that they're going after at the time is. Very similar to that. We're able to vibrate our intentions and our feelings, and it could be felt pretty much as large as we'd like it to be. Okay, So with those three things, now what's happening now is when you have an entity around you and you're not enjoying the experience, or that you're trying to sleep or whatever it may be and you need that time, when you start vibing, you'll get the goosebumps, you'll have the hair standing on end, the vibration level in your body is building, you can feel your aura around you. Now this is when you do the final step. The key to all of this is your intention. So now you are sitting there and you're starting to come from an intimidated point to now a powerful point. Your aura is getting bigger. You can feel yourself coming out, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can get as big as your spirit will allow you to get. Now, I think as you, over time, I imagine you can get as big as you possibly would like to be, but in the beginning, you got to understand that when you're doing this, the entity that's in your room with you or whatever may be around is, first of all, like I said earlier, not used to a human being knowing that they're there, and then of course even fighting back. Not that you always have to fight back, and I'm going to talk about that more later on too, but they're not used to it. So you've got to understand how they're perceiving this. They're not looking at you through human eyes. They're not feeling you through fingers. They're looking at you through a different vibrational level that we are not always used to here on the planet. So when that's happening, they're seeing you grow. That's what they're seeing. So as you're vibrating out and getting larger and larger and larger, they're freaking out now. You are now on the winning side of what's happening right now. So that's why I call it the tool of vibing defense, really, is because now you're no longer putting up with it. Now you're fighting back a little bit. And so I can tell you, if an entity or spirit or whatever is coming back day over day, if you're starting to present yourself as being this big bad spiritual thing, they're not going to mess with you. They know that there's no reason to be there. And what I would say is shadow figures, certain entities, they see us as an energy source. They see us as light to a point too. And a lot of them just want to get home, but they do see us as a light. So if they're bugging you a lot and stuff like that, that's a lot of them are just trying to figure out what's going on. So when you present yourself as a big, powerful thing, they're not going to want to be around that. They're going to understand now, and mostly through your intention and your thoughts as you're growing, is you are producing your power. You are putting it out there, and that's darn scary. So they're gonna go away. Absolutely, they're gonna go away. Now, they're not. How do I explain this right? I want to stick to vibing. I'm going to get to portals in my book, and maybe I can just put more of this out there. I don't know yet, but in my book I talk about portals too. So not all entities go through portals and that sort of thing, and I'm going to briefly speak on this. But if ghosts and spirits aren't with us all the time, right? And I'd say more on the ghost side of things, which is a level of spirit. But basically there are portals around us, and please, I need to explain this more in my book or whatever, but they are going to a different place a lot of time during the day, that sort of thing. So they're not there all the time. Where are they, right? So we'll talk about that more later on. But this is a point, if you're vibing, there's no reason for them to come back, because they're not going to come back to a place that's uncomfortable. So really important that you do that. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go through the passages of the book. There's an entity that I didn't ever think even existed that I dealt with, which was really interesting. It really opened up a whole new world for me when this happened, because I didn't think it could, which I should be over that by now, right? After I've seen a lot of things. So stay tuned if you want to listen to it. It may be a little bit boring, so if not, don't worry. If you have more questions, hang on and listen, or please write your questions in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them the best I can. But hang tight if you'd like to see it. Thank you for being here, Spiritually Out of the Closet. Thanks for being part of all this as well. Much appreciated. The tool of vibing.
I first discovered the amazing gift of being able to control my personal vibration around the age of 11, when my visiting spirits would start making themselves more known that they were present. As you could imagine, just the thought of something appearing in your room or around you as a child is absolutely terrifying. The vibrations would normally start slowly before these spirits would come through. The vibrations would run up my body from my feet all the way up through my head. Goosebumps would follow by covering my entire body. I would be in this state as it would gradually become more intense. Normally at this point I would have some sort of visitor there with me. As a young boy, I would quickly cover my head with the covers or try to get enough courage to reach over and turn the light switch on, hoping that this would be enough to make this experience go away. Most of the time I'd be frozen with fear, unable to move. My grades were never great by any means, but these experiences really started to affect my schooling and my social life. Sometimes I would not sleep for 2 or 3 nights in a row. I felt like I was being overwhelmed by these unknown visitors. One of the first times I remember having the courage to face my fear was met with pretty much what I was expecting. I was under my covers with goosebumps from head to toe. I was absolutely scared to death. I was sick and tired of being afraid, and I was tired of being tired. I reached up to the top of my covers and slowly started to pull them down so I could look out. I first looked at my feet under the blankets at the end of my bed, then to the wall. My vibes were at full strength. I started to look over to the side of the room, where I seen an old woman sitting in a rocking chair. Oh my God! She was slowly rocking back and forth. There was some sort of sense that she was happy to see me. At that time, I didn't want anything to do with this experience or this damn old lady in a rocking chair. I quickly pulled the covers over my head and tried to pray for this to stop. I didn't get any sleep that night. The vibrations slowly slipped away and the old lady left, but there was no chance of sleeping that night. Vibing for protection. When the vibes first appeared, it was only as a warning sign that things were about to happen. As these experiences continued, I started to understand I had a small bit of control. It felt almost as if I could start to push this vibe or aura out a bit to make myself feel bigger. Over time, I found that I could indeed control the size of my vibes or vibing aura by pushing it out further and further. I got to the point that I could fill my whole room with me. The cool thing was that I understood that filling the space allowed me to push anything else trying to occupy the space out. It is almost like flexing your muscles, but your muscles are the size of an elephant. Now when these visitors would come by, if I were not prepared for them or if I had to catch up on sleep, I would simply push them away. This discovery was most likely the only thing that kept me out of the loony bin. You could only go without sleep or being scared to death every night for so long before you will break for good. The unfortunate thing was I didn't understand this method for some time. If it was something that you or your child may be dealing with, please know the signs. There is help to slow these experiences down or stop them until you can understand what is happening. I'm going to dig into this deeper at the end of this. This also works if you feel that you may have a presence around you that may not be good or may not be a friendly spirit coming to visit you. I tried for years when I was younger to pray for these spirits to go away with no resolve. Prayer is something that is taught by most religions, and in my opinion, for the most case, is for the birds. I learned as I got older that prayer in these cases were a way to try and chant or hope your way out of a situation. Actually facing my problems and getting to the bottom of why these were happening, along with developing my vibe technique, was really the only thing that helped. It put me in the driver's seat instead of just cowering from these experiences. It's funny, but I could always feel when an odd situation was going to happen. When I was around the age of 14 years old, I was hanging out at my friend Erin's house. She was a good friend, and because my life around that time was so hectic, she asked if I would like to stay the night, of course with myself sleeping on the couch in her living room. I felt a presence early that evening. My vibe was not at full strength, but it was there. As nighttime came rolling in, Erin went down to her room in the basement as I got ready to crash out on the couch. I started slipping into a sleep state when I found myself wide awake, but I was completely unable to move, also called sleep paralysis. This is a normal thing for the human body to do, so that when you're sleeping, you do not physically act out your dreams and possibly find yourself walking down the wrong side of a highway in the middle of the night or something to that effect. This is a hard state to be in mentally and can be very scary if you're not used to it. I found later that the state is a fantastic place to begin an out-of-body experience or to speak with your spirit guides. If you ever find yourself in this state, there's an easy trick I picked up to help you out of it. It is simple, but it works. You need to concentrate all your energy on moving either your pinky finger or your pinky toe. Do not think about anything except for this action. Eventually, either your toe or your finger will begin to move, and you'll be quickly able to get out of this state. Okay, back to my sleepover. I was stuck in this state and could feel my vibe from earlier start to completely take over. I was stuck in paralysis, but also had a visitor. If this wasn't scary enough, the visitor was not like any visitor I've had before. I felt an extremely big, terrible presence. It knew that I was there and it was not happy about it. I was trying to figure out what the hell this thing was. I could feel the aggression and the anger. I thought it might be a demon or some bad spirit, which I discovered later do not really exist. This was a bear. This was a fucking bear. This thing took a swing at me and I could feel my spirit being tossed around like a rag doll. I was praying for it to stop, and again with no resolve. This bear wanted to kill me. My vibe got larger and larger. I started to feel how powerful I really was. My vibe grew larger until I was 5 times the bear's size. I pushed out the energy of fighting through my vibration and aura. I felt as the bear turned around and left. I slowly started to release from my frozen state. I was sweating and my heart was beating 1,000 miles per hour. My ability to control this vibration just saved me from a spiritual beast. Believe me, I know how it sounds, but as I started earlier in this book, I will be giving you all of the experiences just as they happened. Needless to say, this was another terrifying sleepless night. I'm going to go off script really quickly. This is something that I didn't know could exist, and the neat thing was this was a spirit of a large animal, and the only thing I could really think of or to get some sort of guidance on this would be from the Native Americans, which really believed heavily in the animal spirits. This is real. Not only is it real, but it can affect your spirit, or your spirit can be aware of the animal spirits as well. So very interesting experience. The key to the tool of vibing is not the fact that you can feel an entity near you or even the goosebumps that come along with this. It truly is using your universal language from where we all come from. At home, we all speak through the feeling of intention. No words or physical gestures are needed. With the defensive tool of vibing, you do not only have the physical reaction, but the more powerful tool of intention. That, in this state, is incredibly powerful. Even if you are in a sleep paralysis state, you can use this tool to clear as big of a space that your spirit will allow. You must fully push out the image of your being. As you feel yourself grow, your vibes will heighten. It is an enormously powerful feeling, and as you can imagine, this is not a comfortable feeling in sight to see for the unwanted entity. The vast majority of spirits, shadow figures, or whatever is visiting you, more than likely have never seen anything like what is going on. They are used to human beings not being wise to the power that we possess. When you choose to go into full defense vibe mode, nothing can stand in your way. If you are dealing with an unwanted visitor that will not seem to go away, this will solve your problem extremely fast.
Hey everybody, welcome back. That was a lot of information I just threw at you, so I hope for those of you that needed to get something out of it did. Do me a favor though, if you have a friend or a family member that may be struggling in a spiritual situation, please do share this video with them. We would love to help out those that need it. This will give them another tool in their tool belt to deal with it. And to speak to you folks directly that are dealing with this, it gets better. Okay, so don't worry what's happening right now, it will pass. But we're giving you a tool to deal with it. And I guarantee you, after you get this under control, you're going to be thrilled you did, and you're going to start understanding how blessed you truly are. So that ultimately is what we're all chasing, is how to do this in a comfortable way while we're in these human bodies. So again, eventually you don't have to fight this type of thing at all. You're going to raise yourself up to a different vibration, so when the stuff is around you, you're not in panic mode or scared. You know how to deal with it. It's going to be second nature to you. So that's what I'm trying to push out there the best I can. All right, do me a favor, subscribe, share, hit the bell. Don't forget, we're all here to have the human experience, so have fun. Thank you.